Hey, Nerd Herd Dynasty Nerds, and we are back with our final show of 2023. We're going to talk about some players for the playoffs. Maybe you're still in it, like some of us. Maybe you're not, like some of us.
We're going to talk about some of the injuries and how they affect the people that are still in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like some of us.
Some of us. And the players that, should we start them? Should we not? Should we avoid them?
For the people that are still in.
For those that are still, participating.
In the playoffs.
In the tournament to end the season.
So let's close out the year with a little conversation and then get ready for 2024.
Ready, set, hut. Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara. He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
He's Jared Wackerly.
He didn't even wait.
He didn't wait for you to say anything.
I had a little bit of a pause in my hey, and he just went right
Doesn't
on
matter.
without me.
It's almost like it's pre-recorded.
Yes.
And if you don't fit it in there, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm so mad.
But it's not.
But it's real.
He's a live action human.
What are you mad about?
Schefter just reported Stroud's likely to miss a second straight game.
What?
Well, seeing he's one of my last remaining quarterbacks in the Air Force League, where I'm the number one seed, that looks pretty good. But it doesn't surprise me. Like Tyreek Hill just magically disappears when I need him the most in the playoffs, and all these teams that were looking so sweet. I lost 3 leagues by under 2 points.
This is why you tune in.
The worst, dude.
To hear our misery stories.
Everyone's got them.
Oh, everybody's got them.
Everyone out there right now is like, I've totally been there.
But you know what's weird? Okay, I want to say this never happens. Like I never win in those situations. But I did win one league that I did not want to. The one league, because I have 0%. I don't even know how I'm in the playoffs. Remember I said something last week about it? Like I made the playoffs this league. I have no idea how I'm in. I won. No, I won. I won by 0.3 points on the Jalen Hurts interception. I was mad I won because I was like, I have no chance.
Because you got no chance to go.
I texted the commish. I was like, hey, do the top 4 teams get paid out? He's like, no, only top 3. I'm like, oh, man.
Oh.
Means I got to win again.
He's
sometime.
like, maybe I'll get lucky again. I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't even have a whole lineup to set.
Did you guys see Tim Martin's missed the SFB cutoff by 0.01?
Oh.
That's tough.
Wow.
They're down to 250 now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
he was 251.
I lost
gosh.
a championship game one time in a super flex league to a team that had no quarterbacks.
None.
Not even just the super flex spot, the normal quarterback spot. He had to take a 0. He had no quarterbacks, and I lost.
So you went into it feeling very confident.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I didn't even check it. I didn't even check. I found out like a day or two later when he texted me. It was Michael Bauer. He texted me and he was like, "I beat you with no quarterbacks." I was like, "What?" I just assumed I won. I didn't even bother to check.
What's more weird, get that text or not checking your game for 2 days?
Not
I'm
checking.
not
fair.
surprised with Garrett.
That's fair. That's kind of weird.
My husband got me a goose egg. That helped out a lot.
I lost by 2.3 points. I just looked it up before this in a league, and he got me a 0. Literally anyone
He had
else.
a lot of drops too. He had at least 2 that I saw.
He was my second tight
targets.
end. It was a tight end premium league where you could you could start a bunch of different flexes. He was my other tight end. I had Cole Kmet and him. I could have started anyone, literally
Cole Kmet did decent,
anyone else on my roster other than Van Jefferson, who wouldn't have been in my starting lineup no matter what. And I would have won that game. Anyone else?
I love fantasy football so
Anyone
much.
else?
Regular season, 70% luck or 70% skill, 30% luck.
Oh,
Playoffs,
we say all the time. Playoffs.
Flip it on its
Pure
head.
luck. You need one big game, one Christian McCaffrey, or like in our old league, just to go against Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep, no big deal.
One guy sneaks
Go
in the
against the
playoffs
Lions.
who didn't have the better team, didn't think he was going to make the playoffs, thought he had a 0% chance, sneaks in, I play him, I feel good. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta scored his 3rd touchdown. I was like, oh, this is swell. This is going really well for me.
Fantabulous.
I was like, well, at least I have in the Kings Classic League. Lost the Kings Classic League by 4 points.
He probably had like David Njoku.
It was just like pure misery all day Sunday for me. I was just everyone I wanted to do poorly did amazing. Like they'll flip to a game, and then I see Cooper Kupp running for a 62-yard touchdown. I'm like, son of a perfect. That's great.
This is great. But we'll talk about some guys that did well and some guys And I'm very nervous if I still have to start.
All right, got to talk about a little bit Underdog here. A little new thing that going on. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em Champions. Dynasty Nerds in Alabama, Tennessee, Wyoming, and Mississippi. This one is for you. Underdog has launched a brand new game called Pick'em Champions just for you. It's a new player versus player Pick'em game that's all about strategy and fun. Choose 2 to 5 players, place your entry, and if your pick hits, you win big. When new users deposit $10 or more on Underdog, they will match your deposit up to $100. You will also receive a free promo code for us for a free year of the Dynasty GM and the Nerd Herd bundle. And what a great time to have it, because that gives you access to all our tools, all our rookie breakdown content, the Nerd Score, and the Dynasty Nerds Film Room, and everything else we offer for the Dynasty Nerds memberships. And for our current Nerd Herd members, we'll give you that cool, great, most comfortable shirt in the world, guaranteed to increase your high five intake, the Dynasty Nerds t-shirt, waiting just for you. So click the link in the podcast description, head to Underdog Fantasy, use the promo code NERDS, and deposit at least $10 to start playing their new Pick'em Championship game. Then be on the lookout for your Dynasty Nerds promo code within 24 hours of your deposit. New members only. Again, that is promo code NERDS at Underdog Fantasy. Yeah, so today's show we're going to talk about, I was going to bring up a couple of injuries here real quick, and then talk about guys that are in the playoffs and how we feel about them from a playoff standpoint. Next show, Nerd Herd, we're going to do Q&As. And, of course, if you don't know, this is the last show of 2023 for us. We always take off between Christmas and New Year's. I like to go on holiday and get some snowboarding in for a week. So this is our last show. It's been a great 2023. I've had a fantastic time. I'm real excited for 2024. And we got some big news coming up for 2024. We are bringing more nerds to your ears. We're going to have more shows coming out.
More content.
More content. So
same amount of nerds.
We're same amount of nerds. But we've been talking it out, and we always felt that.
I mean, thanks to the listeners filling out the survey that we sent out.
Yeah, shout out to the Nerd Herd. And we've always put the rookie content that we do in 2 separate episodes for the Nerd Herd and for here. So that's going to be all. We're going to get all our rookie content out there this year. We're just too good at this not to hold it back.
But we're still going to have Nerd Herd stuff that's special for the Nerd Herd. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the Nerd Herd shows are still going to be Nerd Herd shows. You still have those, and we're going to make them more specific for the Nerd Herd, built for the Nerd Herd, to the Nerd Herd, get a little more in depth for them, and cater to them more specifically. So another reason to join the Nerd Herd and get more sweet tools coming out as well.
Yeah, so we'll have 2 free shows, and then Garrett and I will be bringing over our Talking Dynasty show as well to the feed. So
yeah, and I might do a couple short shows that I was talking about. Maybe do some celebrity guests. Bring on some celebs.
Celebrity. I didn't know about this.
Tell them how much.
Hey, Channing Tatum.
Hey, Izzy Alcafas.
Not the same level. Not the same level.
Sorry, Izzy.
Hey, Matt Harmon. Hey,
right direction.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Hey, Graham Barfield. Hey, Scott. I don't know. Hey, Ryan McDowell.
Hey, Ryan.
Those are all.
Matthew Berry might be the closest thing to a celebrity that we could actually.
I can't call any of those people my pals though. I could call Ryan McDowell my pal. Izzy my pal. I only met Matt Harmon once. You know him pretty well, but people within the industry.
I know he uses the film room.
He does.
I had some people that reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, next season, man, you want to do like a betting show?" I was like, "Sure, we'll put it out." And then also next year, I think we're going to try and do a bonus show where we're going to try, and obviously this is way too early, where Matt and I are going to
take anything we say right now with like a grain of salt.
No, this is 100%.
Last show.
We've laid out this entire plan that we haven't fully thought through yet.
Look at Rich, like, what is he about to say?
So, yeah.
No, it's the same. We're going to try and get the injury news out in our waiver wire grabs out on Mondays.
So we don't have to put those in the main show.
Yes. And also, our show goes out on Wednesdays. By then, your waivers are processed. So Matt and I are going to do our injury breakdowns and waiver claims. That show will come out on Mondays now. Then we'll have a show come out on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we'll have their show. Might just coming out 7 days a week.
7 days. We're not even 5 days. We're to 7.
Some of those shows might just be coming out here for like 15 minutes, telling you how my day was. Hey guys.
We'll see. We're
back again.
we're gonna stop promising things. We want to under promise, over deliver. So we're gonna stop promising things.
I was chugging Crown
We're gonna
Royal.
do more. That's all you need to know. Is there will be
remember
more.
the mock draft tool?
I'm biting my nails for a reason.
It is almost ready, guys. 2 years later.
I'm gonna edit this.
No, we have the mock draft tool now.
Yeah. Well, remember the GM was coming out?
Hey, when I started editing the show, I started editing Rich out of saying shit about the mock draft tool.
Unbelievable.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we have it.
People got things that people need to know things.
People do.
Me falling down my
60% of the
stairs,
time,
my
it
elbow
works
still
every time.
hurts. My elbow still hurts a little bit. It's better.
Dude.
I can touch it now.
All right, let's
A trip and fall at your age.
let's
man.
begin.
Yeah.
Wooden stairs I fell down.
Yeah. That's very good.
We're 8 minutes in.
Well, yeah. It's the end of the year. People got to know what's up. Get excited for 2024.
Dude, if we're going to mail in any show, it's the last show of the year. All right?
Hey, screw you guys. We don't care if that you're
Hey,
going
we
to the
got
ship. We're
championships.
mailing it
We
in.
got championships to win.
And a heads up, if the Browns win the Super Bowl, I'm for sure doing a whole podcast just on.
Cleveland Browns.
It'd be me crying on there.
I'm so happy.
Is it going to be you crying from Las Vegas?
Oh yeah, I'm 100% going to Super Bowl.
you
That's
guys think Jamar Chase going to play this week?
No, he's out.
No, he's out.
Dude, who invited you back to the show? All right, let's get back
He's
here.
trying. I appreciate it.
couple
He's got an
injuries.
AC joint injury. He's not coming.
No, he's
No,
out. He's
I
probably
just-
out for a week or two here,
Getting you going.
For the relevant fantasy games.
which makes Tyler Boyd viable in your playoff games if you want to. I mean, when he came in, when Chase went down and Boyd came in, when it was T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, target for target, they both saw 3 targets, which is about 25%, I think, of what it worked out to target share. So Chase is going to miss a couple games. Boyd's going to slide in there. He'll be relevant. Tanner Hudson might get a little boost there, and Joe Mixon, of course, as well.
Hudson has been like, I've been surprised because, Drew Sample's their tight end, and then Irv Smith was supposed to be the receiving guy, and he's actually looked like the best tight end of the group fantasy-wise, and I think that there might be something there. Like, he looks like one of those guys that is a relative unknown, but could blossom into somebody that you end up starting long-term. Now, we'll see how the draft and offseason and all that stuff goes, but I like what I've seen.
I've liked what I've seen too. If they missed the playoffs, I'd be interested in where they can grab a tight end. But I've been pleasantly surprised watching Tanner Hudson. Like his route running, his hands, he's smooth. He gets in on his breaks really well.
And he's got a connection now with both quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Even before Burrow came out with the injury, he was throwing to him as well, which came out of nowhere, right? I mean, it was like
All of a sudden he was a thing.
they basically didn't use any tight ends. Then they started using tight ends like week 8, week 9, maybe somewhere right around there. And it was just ridiculous. I mean,
It was like Zach Taylor's like, wait, we have some of those? Oh my gosh. We can use them?
I got multiple Tanner Hudson shares because I watched him. I was like, wow, like I know they're right. And it was right when they first started doing, like you said, right 3-8, and they're using all 3 tight ends. But I was like, out of all those guys, like he looks the
looks
part.
the part,
Like,
yeah.
he looks smooth. So I grabbed him up everywhere he was available in leagues. I got like 5 shares of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is 29.
yeah, I was going to say he's a little bit older.
That's the downfall.
Yep.
But
I've been making money on
tight ends get there.
his props.
Hey, Gary Barnidge did it at
Gary?
a late age.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bear.
and that's the thing. When you get a guy like Hudson off the waiver wire, he's 28, 29 years old.
It's a year or two thing.
He's going to be a year or two thing, and then
Robert Tonyan was a year or two
he's
thing.
He's going to fade and be gone.
Yeah, Robert Tonyan, great drop this week, buddy.
Oh my gosh, he was wide open.
For us.
Thank you so much.
For us, that
Oh,
was
I
a great
appreciate that.
He and Mooney.
He was wide. Yeah, Mooney had a big drop too.
I got to watch my boy Joe Flacco make one of the best Browns passes I've ever seen. That pass, touchdown pass to Amari Cooper.
That was nice.
That pass was like right where I sit on the other side. I thought it was because I saw the 3 defenders come back in.
Yeah.
I yelled out, "Oh no, interception!" on the release. And next thing I see is Amari go up the sideline. Oh,
I couldn't believe Amari stayed in bounds too.
I know.
He did a great job with his footwork. Like,
will be the first Browns receiver in the history of the Cleveland Browns to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving yards.
there you go.
Like years.
Receiving seasons.
You suck. Is that what you said?
No, we suck.
That's
Not
true. That's a
great.
true stat.
It
True
is.
stat.
Because you had like Braylon Edwards, but it was
Josh
very hit and
Gordon,
miss. You
smoking
had
weed.
Josh Gordon. You had Terrell Pryor for that one season.
Yeah.
Dwayne
You had,
Lowe.
but like nobody could do it consistently.
But not even back in the day.
Yeah, Hall
Back
of
in the
Famer,
day, they didn't
what's his,
throw it for
what's this
1,000
guy from
yards.
Ohio State? He played for the Browns. Hall of Famer.
Back in the like way back in the day.
Yeah.
like Paul Warfield.
Yeah,
or something?
Paul Warfield. Yeah, Ohio State Hall of Famer. They didn't play that. They didn't throw the ball enough back then.
Yeah. Like
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
How many yards did he have? Like 6.
That's all it took back then. They didn't throw the ball.
He was the first person to catch a pass. Hall of Fame.
You hate old people.
Maybe.
Out of the way, old man.
Depends on how they smell.
Are they rotting from the inside? Then maybe.
So many mothballs laying around there. My nose is so clean and filtered. Another guy who potentially have to pay attention to is Michael Pittman Jr.
Vicious hit, man. That dude got suspended for the rest of the year.
When I watched it live, I thought it was brutal.
His kappa got detained.
When I watched it in slow mo replay, it wasn't nearly as bad. Because he didn't hit him in the head. He hit him in he led with his shoulder, hit him right. But still, cheap dude play. But it was good to see Michael Pittman get up, walk out, walk into the tent. He seemed fine. He was he didn't seem he was.
He wasn't woozy looking.
He looked good. I thought he looked good enough where I was he might come back in the game. He was pointing fingers.
That dude got suspended for the rest of the year.
Rest of the year.
Yeah.
Multiple times he's
DeMonte
been
Casey.
Flagged for cheap hits. Dude, you can't do that, man. That's how you hurt somebody. Or kill somebody. You can't be doing stuff like that. No. Cheap dude. So pay attention to that. Hopefully he doesn't miss. He's been a monster.
He's gonna miss. They signed 2 wide receivers today. It looked like.
I mean, if you're gonna be that kind of pessimistic,
I think. I mean, all indications are most of the time nowadays you
miss a week after a concussion.
1 week, if not 2 weeks.
We've only had 2 players all season not miss a game after a concussion.
Yep.
I have a lot of Michael Pittman shares.
I have a good amount as well.
That was a good season.
I don't know if that I have him in any
ton of
leagues
fun.
I'm still in though. So
I've never been more confident.
I'm good. The one that I don't have him, I already lost.
I have him versus you, Garrett.
Hey-o.
I get something where I've been so pessimistic about where I'm 14-0 in my high stakes league, and I'm I checked today, that team I'm playing has Jamar Chase. So I was there's some upside there.
Telling me there's a chance.
Which means for sure I'm losing now. For sure. Because I played one team this week and they started Najee Harris, and I was you got the one. I'm I'm winning this game. Lost by 15. And I had Laporta. Yeah, good times. So check out Michael Pittman. Will Levis, if you're in a super flex league, he got a little his high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
But he came back. He said he was fine. So we'll see.
I think they've already ruled him out.
Really?
I'll have to look.
Look at that one. I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen
ruled
that.
out.
Yeah,
I kind of try to double check that stuff right before going there.
I was double checking somebody's thread. One of the PT guys, and he had him either as a high concern or said he was already.
So he got bent backwards.
Which it'll be. I mean, of any team, Ryan Tannehill obviously was the starter at the beginning of the year. I wouldn't expect a huge drop off in production for those around him.
I forgot Ryan Tannehill was still playing football.
He's alive?
I hope he comes in and plays well.
I mean, I don't know why there would be any real drop off for the assets on the team, DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't think it's going to change much.
A couple good wild cards. We'll have to talk about quarterback wild. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll do our free agent show here. Coming up, free agent show here probably within the next month of upcoming and pending free agents. But it'd be interesting where Tannehill ends up. I think Jake Browning definitely deserves a shot somewhere.
He's pretty smooth. Yep.
Really good. And then where will Justin Fields play?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this stuff isn't going to get flushed out until after the draft. You know what I mean?
True.
Jake Browning might be a perfect guy to kind of sit back and wait to see who doesn't get a quarterback that needs one and kind of go and attack
Pittsburgh.
that position. Yeah. Or just sign with Pittsburgh right away.
All the reports, I was for sure in the stance of Justin Fields got to stay in Chicago. He's looked good. But the more I read and the more I study, it looks like they're going to take Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields.
It's a good opportunity for some team. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Keaton Mitchell, our guy, Keaton Mitchell. Hopefully you listened to that show where we told you to pick him up. He broke his knee. I mean, it wasn't broken, but
it tore his ACL, man.
His leg bent the wrong way.
It was gross.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was nasty.
It went the wrong way.
Just running down the field, and all of a sudden you saw
Nick Chubb
him go forward.
Yeah, when Nick Chubb, the way his leg went.
Yeah.
Did somebody tackle him?
Oh, he was just running.
It
was planted. His foot did plant. The
Yeah.
rest of him did not, and it kept going forward. Kind of like
pretty
chopsticks.
gross.
Yeah,
pretty gross.
So they called up Melvin Gordon.
He's back.
He's back.
All that dude does is figure out ways to worm on good teams.
I would make a statement of saying, hey, if you win your playoff this week with Melvin Gordon, send me a picture and I'll send you a shirt.
But it's going to happen.
You've learned from Laquan Treadwell.
But then I did that Was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago with Laquan
I did a
Treadwell.
show with Laquan Treadwell. I had to send out like 35 shirts for Laquan Treadwell. So we won't do that again.
No.
And there's a lot of desperation going on right
Yeah,
now.
so
there's probably going to be a lot of people
that was one of those times
started.
where we underestimated our reach. And like, even that's only like 1%, like just a lot of people starting it.
Yeah, it was legitimately like 35 people. And I was like, where are these? Like, how many people played them and lost?
Right.
How many people won?
These are just the winners.
You're sending $900 worth of shirts out here. This is ridiculous. And my kids had a bad Christmas.
You starting Gus Edwards versus San Fran?
What's that?
You starting Gus Edwards versus San Fran?
I'd be okay with it. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Depending on my
Tough
options.
call. You would
Yeah,
think-
San Fran's a pretty good D. Though.
yeah.
Yeah.
San Fran's a good D. Baltimore's a good D.
Just hoping for a touchdown.
There's a
Yep.
lot. We're going to talk about a lot of these guys here in a second.
I need Baltimore to lose 2 games and the Browns to win out. That's what I need. Then we
So
win the
you're
division.
Telling me there's a chance.
Sorry, Baltimore. My Baltimore friend.
Did we
I
play
need
them
your team
twice
to lose.
already?
I tell
Yeah,
you
we did
they
already
lose
play them
every
twice.
Yeah.
Baltimore. We've already played them twice.
Yeah, we beat them once.
1-1.
They beat us once. But Isaiah probably going to have a good game. Oh, I can't wait.
He looked really good.
I can't wait to get the likely-o-meter back.
It's always good to have
Coming
it back.
soon, right?
Oh, very soon.
All the free people are gonna, like all the you're gonna get a
All
whole
the
new
people that have
audience.
never heard of the Isaiah Likely-O-Meter are now.
Have we never done the likely meter
Never.
in the free show?
Never.
If we have, it's been
Never.
very, very infrequent. I think it's only been in the
Not even
show.
like when just me and you did shows.
maybe we did 1 time or 2 times, but it's definitely not frequented on
Yeah.
the
On the
main
Nerder show, we do not a lot. We do probably like 12 game shows a year, and they're tons of fun and like tons of good information come out. They're super fun. I can't wait to bring them to
Yeah, we'll bring them out.
this show. So
Bring 'em out, bring
out
'em
of that,
out.
on injuries, people coming back. Jonathan Taylor possibly coming back, which would be good because Zach Moss has an injury on his arm. It came back.
Yeah.
Test came back negative on the same forearm he broke. So
He's having a
that's
hard time gripping the ball.
So
They're
hopefully,
both going to have the same issue.
if Jonathan Taylor doesn't come back, it's going to be
Trey Sermon.
Dude, Trey Sermon,
He looked good.
Didn't
Played
look
well.
bad.
He was on a waiver wire in 2 leagues. I picked him up.
Me too.
Air Force
I have
League.
some claims in.
Air Force League. Picked him up.
I never MFL. I never
I
checked
picked
MFL.
I picked him up in a league also that we're both in.
Oh.
Yep.
I checked the waiver wire. I was like, let's see. Check all leagues through the Dynasty GM. It's like, he's available here. I'm like, ooh la la.
Come to daddy.
I was like, I need him.
Yeah.
Possibly. He did look good. Finally. For a prospect that we never, where people are like, oh, you only like Ohio State players. I'm like, no, dude, we talked down about like all kinds of Ohio State
Right.
players. Prime example.
Marvin
So-
Harrison's really good though.
We really like Marvin Harrison.
Dude, he's going to be so good.
He's gonna be
Kyler
a freak.
Murray, him and Trey
It just
McBride.
so happens most Ohio State players are pretty good.
Special receivers.
All right, let's move on.
Trey McBride's looked so good.
Trey McBride has
Trey
looked fantastic.
McBride, yes.
So good.
What?
And he didn't go to Ohio State.
No, he did not.
Bonus, right?
John Mackey Award winner. Tyreek Hill should be back this week. Thanks for nothing. Thanks. Actually, I do have him in some leagues where I had a bye, so that's good.
It's okay.
But for the
You
teams
take
that
a week
did have a
off,
bye,
I'll take a week off. We'll be good. Meet in week 16.
thanks, Tyreek. But I think what we got out of that is like you saw what Jalen Waddle could be without.
It was nice
Tyreek
to
Hill.
see him look like his old self again because he really has been dwarfed in the target department and just the big plays and all of that. So it was good to see him look like his old self.
that big pass, that big play he had for the touchdown. Beautiful pass by Tua,
was.
which is when you look at the
Tua
stats.
is he can really he knows how to get the proper amount of air underneath the ball.
He does.
and he really because there's an art.
He's
to
got
it,
great
you know what I mean?
accuracy.
Yeah.
He's got great short term or short area, long area. Doesn't matter. Like he's got really good accuracy. He was somebody in the offseason that I had targeted a lot. And there was risk there because of all the concussion stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's really gained a ton of value this year from a guy that many considered a very risky player to I haven't heard anybody bring up his concussions or anything like that in months.
He learned how to fall.
He did.
And obviously it's helped. I mean, right?
And he's getting the ball out so quick this year too to help prevent some of those hits.
I mean, everyone forgets that he had a very serious hip injury when he was
did.
coming into the league.
He did.
Very serious, which probably limited a lot of things for him.
Yeah.
As far as off-season workouts, just general mobility.
Yeah.
That maybe he didn't have a full range of motion on some things. And, we're finally getting a chance to see him fully healthy and
Looks good.
and what he can do. And he looks great.
So far, so good. He's going to get paid soon, too. Nico Collins should come back. Without Nico in there, Noah Brown stepped up. He looked pretty good there. We'd mentioned him a couple weeks ago when Tank Dell went down as a great pickup. So he's looked good out there, but Nico should be back. But with no CJ Stroud,
makes it less enticing.
But Case Keenum's good enough to come in there for one game and be out.
Competent.
But unfortunately, they play the Cleveland Browns, the number 1 defense in the league, number 1 defense against quarterbacks, number 1 defense against receivers.
Yeah, so not a great week to start Nico coming off an injury.
No Nico,
Correct.
no Noah Brown. Ramondre Stevenson, he should be coming back.
It looks like he's going to be coming back. It's still up in the air. You know, a lot of these ankle injuries and things like that. It's tough to know for sure.
Is this week 3?
This will be week 3 for him. Mm-hmm. So him and Jonathan Taylor were on a similar timetable. So we'll see kind of both those guys that hopefully. I know some of my teams could really use at least one of them to come back.
It might be a little bit aggressive.
We'll have to
as
see.
far as the timeline, but we'll see.
Everyone
keep an eye out because Wednesday, Thursday will be the days
and it's
indicate that.
It's tough. I'm a little more confident in Jonathan Taylor than I am Ramondre. Coming off those ankle injuries like that, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to ramp up and things like that. Whereas Jonathan Taylor, like it's a ball security thing, but it's not going to affect his movement skills. So that's why I would be a little more hesitant to start Ramondre than I would be Jonathan Taylor.
I'd be extremely hesitant where you're still going to have, even if Ramondre comes down, you'll see Zeke on pretty much all the third down plays there, which is going to really limit Ramondre in his fantasy production. I'm steering very clear of him. Josh Jacobs, you mentioned he should be coming back.
It looks like he'll probably be coming back. It's still none of these are sure things, but it's trending that direction.
Well, we mentioned Jalen Waddle. It was good to see what he could do. How about our boy Zamir White out of Georgia?
Zamir, back from the dead.
Do you see it?
Whoa,
Do you see it?
sweet
That's
nipple-licious.
true.
2 weeks in a row, I'm wearing my Raiders looking.
The Raiders.
Niners shirt. Yeah, of course.
How about that game? I didn't see the first half. I was busy doing something, and I was like, oh, I gotta catch the second half. I don't know. It was 42-0. I was like, wait, what?
They just kept turning the ball over right in the Raiders territory, deep
man.
within
Aiden
the
O'Connell on everyone's benches.
Oh my
Just
god,
blowing up.
So many points. On
Everything
that
about that game. Somebody, I was talking to somebody. They're like, games like that aren't fun. I was like, you're unreal. That game was unbelievable. Like, I had a ton of fun watching them just implode
you're not a Chargers
and the Raiders crush. I was like, dude, Jacoby Myers throwing touchdowns to Devontae Adams. Like, this was good stuff. Like, I enjoyed it. Yeah, if you're a Chargers fan, I mean, if you're Brandon Staley's wife, you're like, oh, this is bad news.
This is bad. We're selling the house.
He's like, I don't think I just at the end of the game. He's like, I don't think I deserve to get fired. And then the next day they're like,
He gets fired.
Did they say that?
He
Or
did.
said that.
Staley
They were
yeah.
pressing
Well,
him
to be
hard.
fair, like they were asking him directly,
Yeah.
like, what are you going to say? Like, yeah, I think they should fire me tomorrow. Like,
Right.
Right.
what are you gonna say?
What are you gonna say? Absolutely. Fire me now.
I deserve to be here. I'm like, no, you don't.
Probably
You're doing a pretty bad job. That's it.
But the good news is Zamir White looked good, right? I mean, he didn't look fantastic. He didn't look.
No, but he got what was there.
Yeah.
He made the necessary plays.
He's a downhill runner. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah,
It's one cut and go.
Yep.
Did okay in the passing game.
Gave me some hope
Yeah.
that maybe he's a little bit more than a jack.
Yep. And it's what you'd want to see from a fantasy perspective from a guy right at the end of the year with who knows what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs next year. It's what you want to see if you're the Raiders to be like, hey, no, we actually have a little something here in our running
Right.
back.
Where we might not have to draft a guy super high or spend
Right.
money in free agency.
Right.
or-
Maybe it bumps it down the priority list a little bit.
Sure.
Guys like that end up getting opportunity. I mean, look at Ty Chandler.
Yep,
What are the odds now that Ty Chandler's starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings next year?
They said that he's going to have a very featured role in their offense going forward.
He looked great.
Yep.
He looked
He's
fantastic.
he's got good burst, man. He looks really good.
He looks stronger too.
A running back we like coming out.
Yep.
We did. And
All of us liked
I remember even talking about him he wasn't in the Senior Bowl. He was
East-West Shrine
in the
Bowl.
East-West Shrine Bowl. And I remember watching that game
Me too.
because I'm an addict. And I remember watching the East-West Shrine Bowl and being like,
We were texting back.
yeah,
and
we
forth.
were
Yeah.
texting that night. And I was like, dude, Ty Chandler looks faster than he did on tape. Like, he looks good.
Yeah.
And it went into our evaluation process. And we even said in the offseason, now granted, Dwayne McBride was part of the equation, but we said, we want the backups there. We like Ty Chandler. We like Dwayne McBride. Somebody could end up potentially taking this job from Madison. Madison's a fine player, but he's nothing special. Somebody could take that job. And obviously Dwayne McBride, part of it didn't work out, but Ty Chandler very much so looks like he could be the real deal.
Yeah, it looks like a very strong opportunity to be the number one guy going into 2024. So it could be a very good buy. If not now, if you have no a deadline, this offseason, right? Like, he's a player that you might be able to get for a second-round pick. We'll see how things shake out during your draft. If you're like a mid-range, this running back class is going to be very thin in this draft class this year. So he's Well, again, we're gonna do multiple shows on our offseason buys, sells, free agents. Yeah. But he'll be on that list of players that'd probably be a really good buy now that could pay dividends for 2024.
Yep.
So big thing is who's gonna be the quarterback there? Justin Fields?
Maybe. That would be fun.
We mentioned CJ Stroud.
Justin Jefferson. As somebody has Justin Jefferson on his team, I wouldn't like that. But
yeah, it would be maybe a slight downgrade in the passing department. But for a guy that has a lot of Justin Fields, that would be a nice upgrade in weapons.
Good point.
So I'm good with it.
Justin Fields played pretty good against Cleveland.
He's looked good in almost all of his games, honestly, this year.
Really good.
It's just
he holds on the ball a little bit too long, but come on.
He's inconsistent within every game.
Sure. He has some incredible plays, and then some plays are like, ooh.
Which is why if you're Chicago, you're probably moving on from him.
Yeah.
He's never shown,
and it makes sense. I mean, if
the
they can
consistency that you need.
It depends on what they can get for him, but if they can get a decent draft pick for him, I think they're making out pretty great. Getting a quarterback that's younger, and you get that rookie contract, which is I think a big part of the equation there. So you get that rookie contract, but then you also get, and I'm curious to see what he'll fetch. Like, is it going to be a first round pick?
No.
Is it going to be a second round pick?
It'll be a second.
Is it going to be?
Oh yeah, he'll get a second.
I don't think it'll be lower than a second.
Yeah, because people are going to be competing for it. It's not like somebody's going to want him.
Okay.
Whether it be
Atlanta,
Minnesota, whether it be Atlanta. The thing is, like, he can go to any team that's like anybody that just doesn't get it. Pittsburgh is an opportunity for a place for him to go. Like, and I can honestly see Pittsburgh a team giving up their first round pick for a guy like Justin Fields personally. Like,
if it's a later first, I could see it as a. I don't think that's the most likely scenario. I think a second is the most likely scenario.
All right.
I agree. I think it's actually gonna be a second plus. Could end up being 2 seconds, but I think his price will be higher because I think there will be competition for him. There'll be teams that do miss out.
If Chase Claypool can get a second, Justin Fields can get a second.
Yeah,
in Chicago, they'll probably get a third.
That's Chicago was the one that gave up the second for that.
Fair.
Oh, well.
They're not the best at knowing
first overall from Carolina.
Isaiah Pacheco probably back this week. Kenny Pickett is going to not play because Mason Rudolph's playing.
Mason Rudolph.
They named him starter. Mitch Trubisky looked terrible. Sorry, boy. I know you're a hometown kid. Went to the same school as my kids, but boy, Mitch.
He just doesn't look good. He never has there in a Pittsburgh uniform.
Speaking of Chicago messing up.
When you're downgrading from
Mahomes,
Kenny Pickett, it's not good. Yeah.
Hey, we'll take
Mitch Trubisky. We're going to trade up to get him.
Oh, man. And the Browns were actually in talks about possibly taking him over Myles Garrett.
Glad they did not do that.
Changed my life.
Dude, where'd he go to college again? I'm blanking.
NC.
North Carolina. Yep.
NC.
Drake May. Come on.
Yeah.
Do you know who
Sam
Drake May
Howell.
is? Do you even follow college football?
No, I know nothing.
Hey, guys, let me tell you about our friends at Sleeper. Guess what? Our app the mini is live on Sleeper right now. The Dynasty GM. You can use the analyzer. You can use the trade calculator. And my favorite thing is the inbox, right? Where all your trades from all your Sleeper leagues are right there. You can actually push trades through the actual Sleeper app. And right now, we couldn't be more excited to be partners with them. And right now, if you don't know, they are doing DFS. And I know how many people that play Dynasty play DFS as well. And right now, there's not a better place to play DFS than Sleeper. They're offering up to 100 times your entry, the highest payout in the whole DFS market right now. You can track your fantasy players and your Sleeper picks in real time. All you got to do is choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live in-game, or even across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats, and only on Sleeper you can get up to 100 times your payout. You can share it with your friends and get rewarded together. Make sure you use that promo code NERD so our friends know that friends sent them their way. And get your deposit match and have a good time. Have all your DFS, all of your fantasy leagues, and now even a Dynasty GM in one spot. It is fully operational inside Sleeper right now. And then when you're a Nerd Herd member, you get that full access to that. And remember, you also want to download the Dynasty Nerds app because they're both in there. Check it out. Check our friend Sleeper. Check out the DFS. Use that promo code NERDS.
Get your whole estate. Speaking of which, I can't wait to start watching some of this tape.
Watch some tape.
This wide receiver class, man.
This film room, man.
Deep.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the league
first-round
neighbors looking
picks.
pretty good. I saw, was it Ray that put out a tweet about Rome Odunze? He's like, oh, I don't really see it. Was that him?
No.
Ray's a
Someone
Rome
else.
guy, I think.
I don't know what his
Because I've
name
watched
is.
some Rome, and I'm a satisfied customer so far.
Yeah, he's projected first round pick.
Yeah, obviously
he's a smooth
early.
operator.
He's very smooth.
I
actually
just watched my first tape of him today. Him and Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I like him more than Neighbors.
Do you?
A little bit.
I mean, both of those guys
at first
are
glance
considered top 5 in the class.
Yeah.
So it's a good class.
Neighbors is supposed to be in a tier by himself. He's supposed to be the number 2 in a tier by himself.
There could be 6 first-round wide receivers.
I was going to say, this outside of Marvin Harrison, I feel like this will be a little bit of a pick your poison kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your style? What kind of players you gravitate towards? Because I have a feeling for me personally, I'll have a lot of grades clumped pretty close together there for 4, 5, 6 guys outside of Marvin Harrison.
From a outside looking again, I'm like Matt. I have not gone the tape yet. I'm always very raw at this point because I don't watch college in depth to study the NFL too much. But right now, I feel like if I have a top 7 pick, and I'm sure this is going to expand, I feel very comfortable with in Superflex leagues with the 2 quarterbacks in May and
Daniels
and Caleb, and then
Bowers.
you had Jane Daniels. Then you have Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome, and Brock Bowers. So 7 right now, the top. If I have a top 7 pick, I feel very comfortable with those picks.
Let's also make sure we talk about FFPC. That's right. Launched in 2010, FFPC is the home to the largest high-stakes Dynasty League community in fantasy football. But you know what? Even when it is not off-season, even when we're not drafting, there are still things to do. In season, FFPC has launched its weekly challenge. There's no draft, no salary cap, no convoluted rules, just 10-team, 30-team, or 100-team contest. Pick your players by Sunday's 1 p.m. start and let them ride. Results will be determined by the total points accumulated by each lineup entry. Get $25 off a $35 or $200 entry by using the promo code NERDS. Go to myffpc.com. That's myffpc.com. Visit the weekly challenge. Use promo code NERDS for $25 off any entry for new members.
Garrett, what do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, so we are at the point now where we are, really looking at the playoff situation. And there's plenty of people that are not in the playoffs and they're out, and that sucks. But there's a lot of us that play in a lot of leagues, and hopefully at least one league, you are in the semifinals. So what I thought we could do this week is we could take a look at some of the names that are either a really good player that's in a tough matchup, or maybe a player that's in a great matchup. Talk about how we feel about these players and what level of trust do we have starting them in our lineups for the semifinals.
Are we giving you a number on this level of trust?
I don't know. I don't know that the free show's ready for Isaiah Likely.
Okay, we'll talk it out. That's fine. Who's first on the list?
I like throwing a number on it, but all right.
I mean, you could throw a number. It just might not fit the standards of what we typically do. Anyway, long story short, I think there's some interesting names. So let's look at the quarterback position. We have some quarterbacks that even in one quarterback leagues, you're probably starting. They've had really good seasons, but how much do you trust them over maybe some other guys? So 2 of the ones that I see towards the top that I think are pretty interesting this week are Tua, a guy that we've already talked about today. He goes up against Dallas, which is typically a pretty difficult matchup. And Brock Purdy, who's got arguably the toughest matchup this week in going up against Baltimore.
Disagree.
You don't think it's a tough matchup?
I don't think it's as tough as people think it's going to be. Baltimore versus the fantasy football quarterback, they're in the top third, but they're at the bottom of that top third. So they're like right around that like 10, 11 range when it comes to stopping fantasy football quarterbacks. So I know their secondary has been somewhat suspect this year. The other line, there's linebackers have been pretty good, but the secondary has been banged up all year, and they haven't been lights out, right? The Jets are the number 1 team in that situation, the Jets and the Browns. When it comes to stopping out players, Jets have been great when it comes to stopping fantasy ball receivers. Plus, it also helps that the teams get up on them big and then they start running the ball a lot. But they've been, when it comes to like stopping fantasy football receivers, the Jets have done the best, and then the Browns are up there as well.
I wonder if that's changed this week because they got torched this week against Miami.
So Baltimore is really, like I said, they're at the bottom of that
You're talking about the
top
Jets,
third.
The Jets got torched? Yeah.
And then for Tua versus Dallas, they're right smack in the middle. Like when it comes to stopping a fantasy football quarterback, they're right around like 15th overall. And this is a game, that you expect to be a high scoring game. Tyreek's coming back for this game. He's still chasing at 2,000 yards, so he's got a lot to catch up on.
For what it's worth, and you get different numbers from different places. Baltimore is 32nd according to Fantasy Pros, so they're the toughest matchup against quarterbacks.
Yeah, so the website that I use has 10th.
You said Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore that's what Fantasy Pros has them as the toughest matchup, and then Dallas would be 10th on Fantasy Pros.
Okay,
so they're 22nd. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Dallas
Each
14th.
one weighs different factors,
Okay.
and whatnot. But
And for what it's worth, Tua hasn't been producing crazy numbers for fantasy.
No.
And
These past few weeks,
And
yeah.
Purdy has been. You know what I
Correct.
mean? So you have to look at all this kind of stuff.
I feel very comfortable starting Purdy. Very comfortable. I mean, he's the MVP of the NFL. You can't argue anything about him. He's been lights out. If somebody's going to scheme against the secondary, it's going to be Kyle Shanahan. They're going to come with a play with them for them to succeed. Deebo Samuel's been absolutely amazing these last 5 weeks.
so you're starting Brock Purdy full confidence.
Oh, full confidence.
Okay.
I mean, I feel more, let me put it this way. I feel more confident lately starting Brock Purdy than I do Pat Mahomes.
Wow. And he's got a fantastic matchup this week. But even according to Fantasy Pros, he's ranked 6th. So normally he sits as a top 2-3 guy every week. Lots of people's confidence has dropped a little bit.
And that's just for right now.
Right.
Pat Mahomes was still number one dynasty quarterback. But
Absolutely.
for currently, the way Purdy's just on fire, all their weapons are hitting on all cylinders. Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, they're all firing on all cylinders here. So I feel very good about him. I feel very good about Tua this week. Stroud probably won't even play, so there's not even worth kind of mentioning him there. But I feel I'm starting both. If I have these guys, I'm starting both of them. They're neither of these defenses scare me enough to break off of that.
Are there quarterbacks that maybe typically feel a little bit more risky that you would be willing to start over them? This is one quarterback. Obviously, you're starting Tua and Brock no matter what in Superflex, but in one quarterback situations like Justin Fields, maybe looked at as a little bit more risky, but he's got Arizona this week, one of the easiest matchups for fantasy football. You've got guys like Jared Goff, Minnesota, who overall in the season they've been so-so, but over the past 6 weeks or so, Minnesota's really dialed it in, have been playing significantly better, and specifically rushing the quarterback. So, but Jared Goff's got a decent matchup there. Kyler Murray's got a pretty good matchup against Chicago. So so you said you're confident in Brock, so let's step off him. But a guy like Tua, would you be willing to go, or even a Baker Mayfield against Jacksonville who hasn't been playing that great? Would you ever consider starting Kyler, Goff, Mayfield? Would you consider starting any of those guys above Tua, or is Tua still pretty safe for you?
Yeah, none of those guys.
As long as Tyreek's playing, right?
Assuming Tyreek's playing, yeah.
Yeah, I have Purdy. The only players I actually have ahead of Tua and Purdy here that I'm looking at is, I would actually listen on Justin Fields versus Arizona. Arizona's been atrocious versus the quarterback out here. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen.
What about the other side of that matchup?
Dak.
Kyler Murray interests me. I mean, Joe
Against
Flacco
Chicago.
just went over 300 yards.
All he's got is Trey McBride right now.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't feel very
That's a good
comfortable with
point.
him whatsoever, actually. And Chicago's been actually very good.
They've been improved the past 6-8 weeks.
Yeah, very good. The site I use here again, they have Chicago number 3 overall versus fantasy football quarterback.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder how much that's weighted versus recency or all season.
Well, since they brought on Sweat, they've had a much better pass rush.
They've had a much better pass
and it's
rush.
it's not all just him. It's all the other guys around him getting obviously less attention. And they're taking advantage.
Well, the position I really wanted to spend most of our focus on was the running back position, because we've gotten to a point where there are a lot of guys that we typically trust this time of year that I feel like are very difficult to trust now. And we have a few guys that we weren't trusting a lot that now feel somewhat trustworthy. So it's kind of interesting. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, tier of his own, just fantasy football GOAT level stuff. But outside of that, you have guys like James Cook and Rachaad White that have really come on strong lately and feel like fairly safe starts. You got James Cook going up against the Chargers. Not a bad matchup, not a great matchup.
It's a great matchup. Right now, the side I have them has a 28th worst run defense.
Okay,
fantasy football quarter running backs.
Mine has them dead center, but Rashad White. I don't know where you have Jacksonville.
25th.
Okay, Jacksonville's one of the more difficult ones too. But with him, it's been more receiving more than it has running the football. He's really gotten a lot of his work and a lot of his points on catching the football. So those two guys over the past few weeks have been a little bit of a revelation. How comfortable do you feel starting those players?
I mean, James Cook specifically, I feel very comfortable. What was the other player?
Rashad White.
Rashad White. I mean, he's been doing excellent.
Yeah.
He was a guy that I had almost written off, right?
Dead wrong on Rashad White.
About middle of the season. And now he has taken that whole job by the reins he's taken that job, whatever. Taking the bull by the horns and run with that job.
I really thought he was only going to be viable in the passing game. Yeah. That's why I thought, he's just going to be viable. And he's shown that he can actually carry the load on all facets of the game. So somebody who I was wrong on the beginning of the year, I was like, White's not going to be for anything. He's only going to be viable in the passing game. I was wrong.
Yep.
I didn't think he was very good at breaking tackles. I didn't think he was good at getting the edge. There's a lot of things I didn't think he would excel at, and I was playing out wrong on him. So I feel very good about both those. I think both those guys are top 10 plays this week.
I agree with that. Let's talk about three guys, though, that you drafted or traded for or whatever for this time of year specifically because you wanted to be able to set it and forget it.
Zamir White.
Yes.
Kenneth Walker looked absolutely fantastic.
He looked really
night.
good. He looked really good.
Above him on my dynasty ranks.
Really good.
Austin Eckler.
Making plays.
Derrick Henry.
Blah.
And the young phenom Bijan Robinson. All three of these guys have been putting up duds lately.
Well, the premier stud there, Bijan, has a fantastic matchup this week versus
He does. He's got a great matchup. So
Indy is
what do you
absolutely
do?
horrendous. Bijan, you're starting 100% top 10 play this week.
What if Cordell Patterson's still getting goal line work?
Dude. So dumb.
So dumb.
Even ahead of
What are they
the
doing?
best goal line back and short yardage back in the league.
And they
Tyler
lost,
Algier,
too. Good.
according to
Glad
Arthur
they
Smith.
lost.
Can I have two leagues where I'm still in the playoffs and I have Austin Eckler. And I am so
starting him?
mad. I think I have to start him. Like it's like a 10 play. Like you know what I mean? Like
He's been bad.
He's been horrendous. Even his matchup is
really
like
bad.
Buffalo's not a bad matchup either for the run.
they're middle of the road. I don't feel new coaching change coming in here. I don't feel comfortable on it at all. I don't have him. I don't have him I don't even have him as a top 24 play this week.
I think there were a few things that happened here. I think the whole team, just the imploding of the team, that gets to you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. I think Justin Herbert not being 100% and all that kind of stuff. Keenan Allen missing time. Then I think all of these things, and then I'm worried that sometimes for some of these guys, just that age cliff just all of a sudden hits, and he looks a half step slow. He doesn't look like that explosive guy that he used to, and it just happened mid-season. Yep. Like it happened mid-season because at one point he looked like that guy, and then all of a sudden he didn't.
He's been
That's what makes me think like. Is there
a nagging injury or something?
Is there an injury that's just not being reported?
I don't know, but
that he's been battling through and just trying to make it work, and it's just not. Because that is a big difference for next year's value.
It's a huge difference,
or at least his value is in the crapper. It doesn't. I mean, the value doesn't matter. It's what I expect out of him next year. It's either absolutely nothing, which is what we've seen at the end of the year, or maybe he'll bounce back. And I haven't decided yet where to put my house.
Here's a test. Here's a test.
Now.
What'd you say?
Now you can buy him.
Yeah, so here's the question. Somebody who just their draft pick's locked in. They have the third overall pick. They have 2-3. They approach you. They offer you Austin Eckler. Or they offer you 2-3 for Austin Eckler. Would you take it?
Superflex or non-superflex?
Superflex, sign-in premium.
And you said we're a contender?
No, just whatever. I don't know wherever your team is.
I mean, if I'm not a contender, then
yeah. Well, if you're not, okay, yeah. So you're a contender. They offer you 2-3 for Austin Eckler.
I mean, obviously, this would only happen if you're already out of the playoffs, which you would be if you're starting Austin Eckler most of the time.
Well, say it's the Austin. No, say it's off. Say the season's over. Say it's January 15th.
I'd rather have Eckler personally.
I think I'd stick with Eckler. If I'm a contender, I'm sticking with Eckler.
That's hard, man.
I'm sticking with Eckler too, but I'm not happy about it.
2-3 is not bad for this draft though. There's definitely some players
there's some players, especially if it's super flex.
That's why I'm asking. That's why I made it high for 2-3. Like it's going to be tight end there, maybe a running back, decent receiver.
I'm taking that chance though that he is still a difference maker at the running back position if I'm a contender. So
There's so many
and he's got that
unknowns.
ability to catch passes, which is
But he's even been dropping passes.
I know.
What the heck is going on, man?
I know.
I don't feel confident starting.
Dude, there's that one game. Garrett, I was texting you. He dropped like 3 passes. I was like,
Yes.
what is happening? I think we both bet on his prop.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had money on that game.
Yeah.
I remember. Well aware.
That's why he dropped it.
I mean,
That's why.
he had 5 catches this
Rigged.
past week. He had 49 yards, 51 rushing yards, scored a touchdown, but he's been a shell of himself.
I'm not going to do that trade. I
not-
finally made up my mind. No 2.3. I'm keeping Austin
Keeping Eckler.
He's
I'd keep
coming
Eckler,
back.
too.
I think he's 28 years old, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
God, that's old.
it is old, but not as much.
Now, if you're Raheem Mostert, running back 2 on the year, baby,
Was
how
he
you producing?
31 or
31?
something?
Yeah, good
This is
point.
old dude. All right, last one I want to touch on. According to Fantasy Pros, I don't know what yours says, but according to Fantasy Pros, Saquon Barkley has the toughest matchup as far as fantasy points given up against Philadelphia this week.
And here's the deal. He could be game scripted out of this within a quarter.
He could. Now, he'd still be involved in the passing game in
Sure,
theory.
in theory.
But he had a rough game this week.
Yeah, I know.
And this is not a
Got
good
a lot of
matchup.
Barkley shares, too. A lot of Barkley shares. A lot. Probably my number one owned running back is Saquon Barkley.
All right, Rich. So the pick is locked in. The guy offers you 1.5 for Saquon Barkley.
And Superflex?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking 1.5 all day.
1.5 in a regular league. Saquon Barkley.
1.5 in a regular league?
So it'd be like 1.8,
QB.
1.9 in a super flex.
Yeah, I'm
Which is
keeping
like
Saquon.
Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers.
I'm selling him for almost any first. I'm getting out. He's been fine this season.
He's
He's
been
a product
fine.
of
he's been
surrounded.
nothing special.
No, he's been fine.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
I mean, currently,
It's still in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
He's young enough. It's still in there.
He's not that young anymore.
26? Is he
He's 26.
he's going to sign a long-term deal soon, which means it's time to get out.
They're not
Yes.
going to sign him to a long-term deal, are they?
If I can get a legitimate first, like
Oh, my God, he's running back 18 on the year.
I told you.
Now, he missed
The
3
offensive line
games.
is
He did
terrible.
miss 3 games.
Offensive line is doo-doo. Every
Butter.
game he played except for 3, he scored over 10 points. Most of these are closer to 20.
What if he just bounced and went to, like he got out? of
He
New
could.
York, went to
I'm
the,
still
the
taking the
Cowboys.
first.
L.A.?
Cowboys. He takes over that.
I mean, it would be a sexy spot for him for sure. But-
Listen, I feel like he's the kind of player where I feel like a lot of people are going to feel exactly how you feel. And I'm going to be buying probably Saquon this offseason.
Okay.
'Cause I still think he's talented enough where
It would depend
with the
on the
hopes he
landing
gets
spot.
out of New York.
I was gonna say, assuming he's still in New York,
But New York's going to have a high draft pick. They're going to have to like build up the offensive line.
or draft a quarterback.
Come on, you can't do that to my guy. Yeah, you can't.
You got
taking a 1.5 all
Danny
day, though.
DeVito on your roster.
That's
you
right.
do not need a quarterback.
You see that, agent? He's part of the family.
I think he just dump that guy? 'Cause
No,
there was a pizzeria mishap.
He kept him. He hired a marketing agent.
Got it.
I heard the same thing. I was like, I gotta read this because he showed up to the pizza place. Despite that, for free.
All right, but for this week, are you starting Saquon Barkley in your semifinal game? against Philly?
I'll let Rich take this one.
Hell yeah, I am Saquon Barkley, baby.
Running back 18 on the year, going up against the
Listen,
most difficult defense against
Go
running
down
backs.
starting.
I don't have him
right?
as a difficult on here. Let's have him the 5th best. But I mean, it really does depend on
Okay,
my options. Like who
number 1 or number 5
Like who
is
are my
still
options?
really terrible.
Like I have him as like a high end.
if you had Ty Chandler, would you do it? Would you start him or Ty Chandler?
I'd start Ty Chandler over him.
Okay. Which, I mean, that says a lot. That says a lot.
That
But
says
I also have
an
Ty
awful lot.
Chandler as
Yep.
a running back 1 this week. So
That's pretty.
I have Saquon as probably
It's hard because I don't know
range.
if Alexander Madison will be back right now. Currently on Fantasy Pros for this week, Ty Chandler is ranked as the 25th running back. But I think a lot of that is the
Madison.
uncertainty on is Madison playing, is Madison not playing.
I mean, I feel better about Saquon than guys like
Devon
Devin
Achane.
Singletary.
Devon Achane.
I'd start Saquon.
San Fran.
I like.
Dallas D.
I like.
a tough
I know,
one,
but
right?
I like Achane this week over Mostert versus Dallas.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I like getting him out in the flat there more.
He is
than
still dealing with that toe. That's part of the reason his snaps have been limited.
Dude, Ronnie Lott, cut it off.
I don't think it's the same as
definitely not the same
as a little pinky finger.
He also
little top knuckle of your pinky finger.
Isn't it the most outrageous things you ever heard?
Yes.
In a playoff game, a player say you can't go back in a game because your finger hurts, and you're like, he's like, cut it off.
I like it.
Yep.
I respect it.
I respect it too. Wish that guy was my dad.
Oh man,
is that the 90s or the late 80s?
That was late 80s.
I was going to say late 80s.
Late 80s were a hell of a drug, man.
Dude,
That's
hell of a time to watch football.
It really was.
Dude. All those penalty after penalty after penalty.
Oh, my God. Every single defensive player would just be ejected from a game.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know how to play. It would take them a whole season just to learn how to play. Like,
Every quarterback hit was roughing the pass.
Oh, my gosh. Intentionally.
Every time a wide receiver caught the ball.
You take his head
you
off.
were trying to hurt
It was like a torpedo out of a submarine.
Kappa got detained.
That used to be like what you tried to do.
Yeah.
was
Yes.
hurt that.
I played
Take us
linebacker.
out of the games.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It was a strategy.
Lawrence Taylor.
My coach would congratulate me when I gave concussions.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. There was
That's
there was
frowned
no
upon now.
there was
Greg
no
Williams.
bounty system. It was just what you did.
It was
You
just,
tried
hey,
to
great
mess
job,
somebody up.
Doc.
Then we're like, hey,
knocked him out.
people are like, their brains are really messed up. We should probably
We should probably not.
rein this in. It's just a sport.
All right, let's
Last
bump.
one.
Let's bump it over to wide receiver. Tight end. Tight end is kind of is what it is.
Yeah, you're
like
starting them.
There's good ones. You start them. The ones that aren't, don't start them.
If you've got a good one, you're starting them no matter what.
Right.
If you've got a mediocre one, guess what? You're
probably gonna have to start him.
You're gonna have to start them either
It
way.
is what it is. But let's do the last couple wide receivers. I've been highlighting a lot of ones that are good players that not sure we're going to start. But this one is kind of the opposite. A guy that early in the season you would have never felt confident putting in your playoff lineup, but he's been fantastic the past 4 or 5 weeks. Rashee Rice. Is he to the point where he is a must start week in, week out?
He's been getting crazy targets,
yeah.
man.
His
Of course.
snap share has gone up every single week. Saw like 95% this week.
Yeah.
I've been saying this show now for over a month. Like my 2 favorite buys this offseason now, which sucks because over these last couple of weeks,
They've played well.
they've played well. My
Too
2
well.
buys going back probably like a month and a half ago, I've been talking about them on this show. Rashee Rice and Jaden Reed. Both had big weeks this week. Rashee Rice's snap share has gone up.
The past 4 weeks for Rashee Rice. 10 targets, 9 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets.
Yeah. So he's got a good matchup versus Las Vegas. He's a top 12 play for me this week. He's been absolutely terrific. They finally got a receiver there for Pat Mahomes. They're going to have to bring another guy in to complement Rashee Rice, but I think Rashee Rice has shown that he could be a true weapon going into 2024. Hopefully, maybe got ahead of it. I know I said this offseason, maybe some people out there and bought him while I was talking him up. I feel the same way about Jaden Reed. Even though Dontavian Wicks came in, he's looked good. Christian Watson looked good when his hamstring's okay. Romeo Doubs looked, I mean, they went from get Aaron Rodgers a weapon to like 4 solid receivers. Now it's kind of like, oh, how does that shake out? Jaden Reed's still my favorite option there.
Me too.
But in Kansas City, I think Rashee Rice is on a projected path to be a very valuable dynasty asset to a high-end wide receiver 2, maybe even the possibility to flirt with wide receiver 1 numbers. We don't know what's going to go on with Kelsey there. We have no idea what's going to happen there.
Right.
And nobody else there is even worth a damn.
Nobody? Not even Clyde Edwards-Helaire after this week's performance?
Oh, he'll be great on some other team next year. He looks terrific.
Didn't he look good?
He looks real good.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
I
I was right the whole time.
the whole time, every time he made a play, I was like, there he is.
There he is. That's what I saw on tape. That's my boy.
It took this long to get there.
He
He looked good, though.
He did look good.
All right. What are we doing with Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson, he's been tough to trust, tough to start week in, week out.
Not this week.
But he's got a fantastic matchup this week. One of the best matchups in
Washington.
fantasy football.
Who are they starting this week at quarterback?
Tim Boyle.
Tim.
Whoever it is,
I
it
have no
won't be
idea. I
good.
honestly have no idea.
They cut Tim Boyle, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well,
It doesn't matter. Like
Trevor
they're
Siemian.
all the same.
Doesn't it matter a little bit? I mean,
I love how Aaron Rodgers
I
all
think Jared
year.
could trot out there and
I'm coming
do just
back.
as good.
I'm
Probably.
coming back. Oh yeah, I'll prove everybody wrong. Next day after they're eliminated, yeah, man, I'm not 100%. I can only come back when I'm 100%. I don't think I'm gonna be 100% in 24. It doesn't make sense that in 14 weeks I'd be healthy. Like what the? Dude.
Yep.
Don't you think he was just
I can't
trying
blame
to keep the morale of the team going a little bit with that whole thing?
Stay in the hunt,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll be back.
I think that's what that was. And the second that they were out, he was like, finally, I could tell the truth. I was never coming back.
Suck it, losers.
There's no way somebody can come back from Achilles in 14 weeks. I'm just not anywhere close to 100%.
I'm a human being.
Anyway, Garrett Wilson's got a terrific matchup.
He does have a very good
They're
matchup.
atrocious versus a fantasy football receiver. Atrocious. So, yes, I'm playing Garrett Wilson this week with like mid-range to low-end wide receiver 2 expectations.
Okay. I think that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah. As long as you have the expectations set there, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Last one here. Jordan Addison. How do we feel about starting him this week? Little bit of a downturn. Now he's had some big plays at times and he's had some big weeks, but not as consistent as he was earlier on in the season. What level of confidence are you starting Jordan Addison with this week?
Wide receiver 3 confidence with Nick Mullins back there and Justin Jefferson back and TJ Hawkinson. He's a third wheel.
Yes.
Maybe the 4th now that Ty Chandler's going on.
He's looked good.
And it's Nick Mullins. So Nick Mullins didn't look that great.
And at one point, Nick Mullins, through his first 14 games of his career, he was like quarterback 3 all-time in yards or something like that.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
I got a question
Good
for
for
you
San
guys.
Francisco, man.
I got a
San
question.
Francisco, anybody can do it. What?
You think Drew Lock starts now for sure next week over Geno?
I think they said Geno's going to be back.
Yeah.
You think
But-
Geno starts?
I think Geno starts.
I think Geno
Okay.
starts, but it does make it interesting, though,
Yeah.
especially since they lost several games in a row with Geno. And then
Did you watch his post-game interview?
It's pretty cool.
Drew Locks or
It
Geno?
was absolutely fantastic.
It
Drew
was.
Locks.
I didn't see
Yeah.
it.
You didn't
I
see
loved
it?
it.
No.
Look it up. Well, after the show, look it up. It was absolutely.
Dude,
Lisa
he was
Salters
on
did a great
sky
job.
high. Yeah.
Dude, he was sky high. He was emotional.
Yeah, it was
Everything
cool.
he said was perfect.
Yeah.
It was, for being a backup quarterback, like it was perfect. I highly recommend checking it out.
I liked seeing the backpack was back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually you
From
see
college.
Drew Lock like kind of
Yep.
acting a fool like on the sidelines and
Yeah,
stuff.
he's
Having a good
rapping
time,
and
just having
stuff.
fun.
Yeah.
And then
like cocky when he shouldn't be.
Yeah,
This
but
time,
like-
this time came up very humble,
yeah,
very appreciative for the opportunity. Highly recommend watching.
mentioned all his teammates. Yeah. It was,
That's cool.
Yeah, didn't put it on him, put it on his teammates, everything. So
Which
yeah, it
shows
was really
Jack
good.
Smith and
But no, I think
DK
Geno
Metcalf
Smith
with
is-
huge catches.
The starter there.
All right. That's it.
Well, that's it. 2023.
Yeah.
Peace out. It was fun. These last couple playoff games were okay. I mean, I'm impartial, but we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know.
He's
Well,
partial.
Hey, as long
He's
as you
very
win
He's
that
partial.
big league, right? The big money league, you're good.
I'm in another league that's the same stakes. You know, didn't go undefeated.
You get stakes?
Well,
That's a league I
How
wanna
much
be
money
in.
you can win in first place? You
It's all
can't buy
about the
all out
money.
of stake, but I won my playoff game there too.
Give
Nice,
me
man.
some stakes.
So-
I'm out of the playoffs.
I'm
Not surprised.
I'm still in. I think in 6. I think I'm in 6 or 7. I'm still in the playoffs.
I'm in 6. Jared has a real good percentage. He's in the semis in 5 of his 11 leagues. I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty good. I'm only 6 of 19, not nearly as good of odds.
Oh yeah, I'm like 7 of 20.
Okay, so we're about the same.
I just got eliminated.
I got knocked out of 3 last week, so I was in 8.
Oh, must be nice. Did I mention that I lost by under 2 points? Well, 2023 was a great year. If you got eliminated, don't worry. The funnest part about Dynasty is not in season. Obviously, you want to win. It's the off season.
really
Studying
is.
these rookies, breaking it down, making trades, building these teams, getting ready for 2024. We got a really good draft class coming in. We've had really good draft classes these last couple of years. We have a lot ahead of us to cover in 2024. This in-season stuff kind of over with. We're going to take a new turn, do our off-season content, get ready as we approach. Senior Bowl's not too far away. East-West Shrine game. Then we get the NFL draft, and then it's rookies. And this year, you'll get all our rookie breakdowns here on Dynasty Nerds Podcast. I'm super excited for 2024. It'll be our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
This last week of February this year, it'll be our 10-year anniversary. So
So
we'll do
crazy.
something. We got to do something kind of cool for that. Give away some stuff or something.
Party.
Show me the
Okay. 10 years
show me the money.
of doing Dynasty Nerds Podcast. Kind of insane when you say it out loud like that. 10 years of doing anything is kind of insane.
So glad we have a producer back.
Yeah, so glad. So excited for 2024. I hope everybody has a happy holiday. If you're already celebrating your holidays, I hope they've been terrific. If you have them coming up, I hope you enjoy them with your loved ones. And of course, I hope everybody has a safe, terrific new year and bring it in fun. Bring it in, get ready for this 2024 season to dominate.
All right, come on.
You shut your ugly face over there. I hope you have a terrible New Year's. I hope you stub your toe. Let everybody else have it as well.
I hope your
So
wife
bad.
fills your drinks with
Lord
hot dog
Reeves
water.
beat you.
Is there anything more corny when you see that guy and you're like, hey, see you next year?
See you every teacher does that. Every teacher does that right before the kids leave. See
It just,
you
it
next
just
year.
popped in my head, and I was like, if you say that, I'm going to go stub my own toe.
We'll see you.
Or Mac can just say,
see
Adios.
ya.